Hello folks and welcome to Craic News. Usually we are a comedy podcast, but today we thought we'd come in and interview BDS movements. Damo, how are you doing?
How's it going?
Could you explain what the BDS movement does?
So the BDS movement is a Palestinian-led movement for freedom, equality and justice for the Palestinian people. It's about applying pressure on Israel to comply with international law.
Okay, yeah.
And to do that, the BDS movement focuses on three aspects, so boycotting, divestment and sanctions.
So can you just take us through what you guys boycott and how you guys go about doing it, and how can people get involved with that as well?
Yeah, so boycotting is all about boycotting Israeli sports, education, academic and cultural institutions.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing, as well as any Israeli companies or any international companies that maintain the apartheid and the genocide in Palestine.
Okay.
So they're the targets. You want to boycott those type of companies.
Mm-hmm.
Those boycotts are broken into three sections. So there's the priority boycotts,
Mm-hmm.
and that's companies you just do not want to touch at all. Do not buy or send money towards these companies at all. So that's the likes of HP, Chevron, Intel, Disney, SodaStream, the likes of that.
Okay.
The priority or the pressure targets would then be targets that if there is an alternative, then boycott them. But it's about applying pressure. So it's the likes of like Google, Airbnb, Booking.com, applying pressure to those companies to stop their complicity in the Israeli state.
And with those pressure groups, because you're saying there's three different tiers, within those pressure groups, like how are they funding the Israeli regime? Like how does their money go towards it?
Well, many ways, if they have any investments going towards Israel, then Israel is any money that's coming into the Israeli state currently is being funneled into the war and the crimes that they are committing against the Palestinian people, against the Lebanese, the Syrians, and Iran. So any money that's going towards Israel is being funneled into that. But the BDS movement understand that there is so many companies that are complicit in Israel's crimes against the Palestinian people and have been complicit for so many years. So that's why they have this targeted list. They don't want some people boycotting this company, some people boycotting that. They want everyone to focus on the targets that they have selected, because they're targets that they look through and choose on level of complicity and level of success. And that's where they want our attention to be applied.
You're saying like there's a list, an actual list. Where can people find this list?
If you look online, if you go onto the BDS movement socials on Instagram, Facebook and their website on X, go online, see those lists. But there's also the Boycott app. So the Boycott app, if you've heard of an app called No Thanks, the Boycott app is endorsed by the BDS movement. And then that breaks it down. So if you go onto that app, you scan something, it'll tell you if it's a priority target. But then it'll also bring in connected companies and companies with a loose connection. So if you want to go full throttle on making sure that not one penny of your money goes to the state of Israel, then you use the Boycott app. Whatever you're buying, if you're going in buying new clothes, new brands, make sure you check if that brand is complicit or not first. And if it is, if it pops up on that Boycott app as being complicit, put down the product.
We'll move on to the D in BDS. So what does the D stand for? I didn't actually know this before I came across the BDS movement. So it's divestment,
Yeah, that's all about withdrawing investments from the state of Israel, as well as those Israeli companies and any international companies. So that's about applying pressure to the likes of local councils, banks, pension funds, universities, any part of society is in any way investing towards Israel. That's where you want to apply your pressure. You want to tell those banks to stop funding the Israeli genocide. The likes of Barclays, in the Barclays campaign, they are still funding the war machine. They're still funding companies that are providing Israel with the ammunitions and the weapons to then drop on innocent people. So that's where you're then applying pressure on those companies to divest from the state of Israel, from those companies.
And I've seen you actually turn up physically to protest outside banks as well. I've seen that on video. And how do people get involved with that and see how they can show up and have their voices heard? Do you get in touch with the BDS via Facebook or anything? Or
well, like the rest of BDS activists are in BDS Belfast, BDS Newry, BDS Craic, we believe that the best way to apply pressure is through direct action. So that's physically going in the shops, removing the products, physically going into Barclays and AXA, occupying those branches and telling people, standing outside, getting petitions, telling people to drop their accounts if they have them. That's where we believe the biggest amount of pressure is going to be done, through physically being there and taking products off shelves and stuff like that.
And if I wanted to join that on a particular date, how do you find out what date it's on, how to go down?
So follow BDS groups. So BDS Belfast, we have put up every Saturday and Sunday we're going into the stores, but we have put up any actions that are upcoming. There is an Instagram called Belfast Solidarity for Palestine as well, which is Belfast specific, but it's just what's coming up in Belfast. So any group, any specific, if it's direct action, if it's a fundraising event, you'll find a lot of information on that Instagram. It has like a link to a calendar as well that you'll find a lot of information. But also just keeping in contact with the BDS movement, seeing what's coming up. If global days of actions are happening, then BDS groups in your local areas are going to be taking part in that. So it's making sure that you get connected to those people, get into WhatsApp groups, make sure that if there is stuff coming up that you know about it and that you take part.
So we've went through boycotting, and we've seen it's working with particular companies, divestment, and it's working with particular companies. Take us through the last letter, S. So how do you put pressure? Is it mostly on the government to put sanctions on Israel?
Yeah, so the sanctions piece, it's all about applying pressure to your politicians, your local councils, anyone that's involved with the government, and that's about ending trade with the illegal Israeli settlements. Now, the BDS movement has been around since 2005, so really right now what you're wanting is full sanctions on the entire state of Israel. But it's always been a campaign to stop trade with the Israeli illegal settlements. And
how would you put that pressure on? Is it via like email and via like talking to them in person? And how would you put pressure, say on your local MP? How would you get in touch with them or the government to put sanctions on Israel?
Yeah, so there's a lot of groups out there, and this is what I mean about the importance of getting connected to all of these people that are working towards Palestine and taking actions towards Palestine. So there's people that set up links that as soon as you click it, it'll bring you to your email box. You've already got who the politicians you're going to send it to up there with a message, and it's a quick send. So the more and more people that send those emails, the more and more the MPs are knowing that people are seeing this and they're really watching and really showing accountability to those politicians. Because we won't forget this. We won't forget that they're not doing enough to stop a genocide.
Just the last thing I want to move on to. We've talked about what you can stop doing, the products that you stop buying, and banking investments and stuff that you can stop using. But how can we actually fundraise? And is there any fundraisers that we can get involved in to raise money for the cause?
So many activist groups across Belfast, Palestine Solidarity groups, they will do fundraisers. They will have, Mothers Against Genocide, for example. They have a couple of Palestinian people that are artists. Yep. So they will send their art stuff over to Belfast, and Mothers Against Genocide and other solidarity activists will help sell those.
Okay.
And that money is then used to buy any food that is available in Gaza, even though at really ridiculous inflationary prices. Do you know, I heard a girl spent 400 quid for a bag of flour, and to get that 400 quid, she used all of the money from her art. So it is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that she has to do that.
Yeah.
But that's where we have to help as much as possible. There's a charity called Palestine Aid Ireland set up in Belfast that's connected to Palestinians in Gaza, and any money that they raise are going directly to Gaza, and then the people there are then using that money to buy food and give it out to people, whatever food is available. Telling people that, making people aware, raising that awareness. The more and more people that get educated about this, the more and more pressure that we're going to apply, the less and less money that then is going towards Israel, and the more and more control that people get back, because you've seen it. We're begging the politicians to stop this. We're begging governments to stop it, and 2 years have passed and they haven't done it. So people need to take control. How do we take control? We control the finances. That's what they will listen to. They don't care about slaughtering innocent people, but they'll care about money.
Hit them where it hurts.
Yeah, hit them where it hurts, 100%.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, Damo. That's great information. And if anyone wants to know how they can watch this podcast, obviously, but if you want to keep up with with BDS. You can get you guys on Instagram, Facebook, and then there's a BDS website where you can actually get the list of companies to boycott as well, can't you?
Yeah, but advise you just to go through that website and read it all. That tells you what the BDS movement and the BNC is all about. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and I hope that's been good for our audience too. And hopefully, I can do a fundraiser for either what you said there was Palestine Aid, was it?
Yeah, Palestine Aid Ireland.
Yeah, so keep up to date with that, folks. Thank you very much.
Free Palestine.